Hello guys and gals, Buffalo here. Welcome back to the range. Today I'm going to do an accuracy test with this VOSTOK 22 long rifle ammunition. About 3 years ago I posted a video with this stuff and I tested it through a variety of action types and it actually did pretty well. I'll link that video in the description of this video if you want to check that out. What makes this stuff just a little bit different than most 22 long rifle ammunition is that it is a steel cased ammunition. It is Russian made and it's steel case ammunition. You can see they just slather the lube on this stuff. Whatever kind of wax or whatever that is they're using, it's just super coated. And in today's heat, it's melting and it's just a really oily feeling ammunition. But there's a close-up look at what we're dealing with. It is a 40 grain bullet. And it says standard on the box, so I'm assuming standard velocity. I will get the chronograph out and we'll shoot over the chronograph as I shoot a couple of 5-shot groups just to see what this stuff looks like on paper. And that way we'll have the velocity numbers as well. And the rifle that I'm going to be shooting this ammo from today is my CZ457 Varmint MTR. I've featured this rifle on the channel many times, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over the rifle here today, but I will say that it has a Citron 36 power scope on there. It has a match chamber. It's performed pretty well across the board with a variety of different ammunitions. So I think it'll be a good choice to sling some of these ugly bullets downrange with. Let's get started. So what I'm going to do is stick a couple of these 1-inch circle targets onto this cardboard target and set it up at 50 yards and fire 2 5-shot groups back to back. I started with a clean bore this morning, but I've already fired 2 5-shot groups off camera just to get myself warmed up and get that bore seasoned to the lube that's on those bullets. So I'll show you those groups as well toward the end of the video. But for now, let's go ahead and get this set up and get started shooting the groups that I'm going to actually get on video. As far as conditions go today, we do have a pretty good breeze blowing, so it's less than ideal, but at least it's not a crosswind. It is coming from behind me, and it's about 92 degrees in the shade. This is the thermometer behind my bench here in the shade. All right, I've got the target set up and ready to go. Let's see how this does. Alright. That didn't look too bad. Let's shoot that other little bullseye that I put up down there. We'll put 5 more rounds on. Just a bit outside. Tell you what, looking at it through the scope, that doesn't look too bad except for that one little flyer there, that third shot. Let's walk down and take a look. So I was just looking at some of those numbers off the chronograph, and given today's temperatures, some of those shots were subsonic and some were supersonic. But we had an average velocity of 1143 feet per second, thereabouts, with a standard deviation of 14. But if you break that down further, the second group was much more consistent velocity wise than the first group. The first group standard deviation was about 19, while the second group was about 5. So take what you will from that, but the second 5 shots were definitely much more consistent than the first 5 as far as velocity goes. Here we are at the 50-yard line, and I tell you what, those are fairly respectable groups. Here's a look at the first one, and here's a look at the second one. That second one would have been really nice if I hadn't pulled that third shot, and I do believe I probably pulled that. But we'll take these up to the bench here and measure them and get a closer look at them. So I just realized I didn't even set it up this way, but it looks like we were shooting this poor guy right in the nipples. Anyway, looking at these groups, it looks like the first one shakes out right at about 5/8 of an inch. And the second group I shot looks like about 17/32. Just a shade over a 1/2 inch on that second group. Not too bad. I'm a little surprised, actually. So I told you guys that I fired 2 groups before I turned the cameras on, and this is those you're looking at right now. This was the first group from a dry, clean bore, and it measures just shy of 3/4 of an inch. This was the second group, and it was right at a 1/2 inch. So once I shot the initial fouling, the bore fouling group, the rest of my group seemed to be running right at about a 1/2 inch or a little larger. So I was getting my stuff put away, and a storm blew through. It's still raining right now, but I'm okay with that. It lowered the temperature about 12 or 15 degrees. So this ammunition is something that I picked up about 3 years ago. It was the first time I'd ever saw any of this stuff, and the last time. I haven't saw it since. So I thought it'd be neat just to get it out and test it out of that target rifle and see how well it shot. And I'm actually impressed with it. It's for what it looks like, you know, it's a pretty rough looking ammunition, but it shoots pretty decent. Not bad. I've shot worse, far worse. So there's that. But that's about all I've got for today's video. You guys always remember, when anybody asks you to give up a little more of your freedom for the greater good, that we've done enough of that. Freedom is the greater good. I'll talk with y'all again soon.